So we just got the gameplay trailer for Jedi Survivor at the Game Awards last night. It looks like so much fun, and there's quite a few things to break down, but before we talk about plot details and characters, I just want to say that the options for gameplay itself look varied, and a great expansion from Fallen Order. For one thing, the Jedi combat moves are so much more dynamic. In the first game, Cal has two combat stances, the single blade and the double blade, but the new trailer shows us a couple of new ones, using two blades at once, and at the end, we see him with the crossguard. And on top of how lightsabers can be used in Fallen Order, the new game has increased the versatility of combat, and as we saw in the pre-order information, Cal also can use blaster combat in this game. This, in and of itself, is going to make the gameplay of the sequel more expansive. Something else I really love is the use of animals to cross terrains in missions, and it also seems as though as Cal develops as a Jedi, combination attacks are going to be ever more impressive. I think this is going to be an absolute blast. Now onto some story details, we get a proper look at the figure we saw in the tank. It's implied that this guy was a Jedi Knight from the time of the High Republic, who's been incubated for hundreds of years. We know this from the flashback where he's wearing golden robes that the Jedi wore during the High Republic era. He awakens and emerges from his slumber, angered at the Jedi, and he seems to be the main antagonist of this game. By his side he has two bounty hunter looking fellas, one which is probably a Gendai. I can already tell this guy is going to be an absolute nightmare to defeat. Now the man in the tank, the former Jedi, says he was betrayed by the one he trusted the most, and to me this sounds like it could have been his Jedi Master, a lover, or maybe even a rogue Padawan if he had one, but in either case, his motives now that he's free are definitely sinister. And I guess we're just gonna have to wait to find out what these are. I mean, sure, he's got a grudge against the Jedi, but I'm sure he has a master plan. Now, in terms of familiar faces, we then cut to Cira Junda at some kind of Jedi Temple archive, very similar to the one that Jocasta Nu restored following Order 66. One thing that's very clear is that Cira has changed a lot, and I think a lot of this is going to be explained in the tie-in novel, Jedi Battle Scars, which takes place between the two games, Fallen Order and Survivor. The book is also probably going to explain the absence and whereabouts of Merrin and Grease, who do not feature at all in the trailer by the way. And speaking of which, Cal is the one flying the Mantis. In the trailer, we also have a few familiar planets. We see Batuu, what looks to be Daiyu from the Kenobi series, and other familiar looking landscapes, although I think these are new planets. We see some Clone Wars era droids, like the Magna Guards that Grievous had, and some battle droids, but we also have some Dark Trooper looking dudes. And who doesn't just love a giant wampa coming right at you? Honestly, this game looks to be pretty much what you'd expect and more, in terms of a sequel to Fallen Order, which in and of itself was a lore-expanding adventure-packed fun Star Wars game. Now the release date is March the 17th, so just a couple of days later than what the leak stated, so really exciting stuff, and it was great to see Cal and BD1 again. I can't wait. And so now, my dear friends, some big news for Andor Season 2 and The Acolyte. Both are filming right now here in the UK, and they're both slated for a 2024 release. Some new set leaks have emerged for both, and the Acolyte ones are the most revealing because we see some actual characters in costume on set. This is courtesy of Splash News. We have Lee Jung-jae from Squid Game as a High Republic era Jedi. Then we have some more Force users, and here we have a Wookiee. Apart from Black Chrysanthemum in the Book of Boba Fett, we haven't seen too many live-action Wookiees in recent times. Apart from Chewie in the sequels, we saw some on Kessel in Solo, but could this High Republic Wookiee Jedi be the one called Buryaga? And in this shot, we can also see a speeder. These set pictures are super awesome. Now, I've already seen some criticism online for the Acolytes based on these pictures, but it's far too early to tell. For one thing, there's no production value on these just yet. It's simply someone taking pictures on their phone, so it really is too soon to tell. As for Andor Season 2, the set leaks are from Bespin Bulletin, and there are indications that we're returning to Ferrix, but we also see part of the temple wall on Yavin 4. Tony Gilroy told Collider a few weeks ago that the Rebel base is going to be a central part of the second season. We also have radar laser cannons, very exciting indeed. Now they did say that Ferrix could also appear in the Acolyte. There is some overlap in terms of appearance for the sets of both shows, but it could just be a similar aesthetic. Some folks have pointed out that the overall look of the set photos for the Acolyte look very similar to the landscape of Willow. And so now, my dear friends, a few tidbits for Star Wars movies. Ever since Bob Iger returned and Chapek left, there's been a lot of talk concerning the future of Star Wars movie schedules, and some rumours state that focus on the theatrical releases is going to ramp up significantly. The most trusted sources for all things pop culture all seem to be in agreement that the next Star Wars film is coming out in 2025. This is probably going to be Damon Lindelof's Star Wars movie or Taika Waititi's film, but in either case, it's believed to be set sometime post Rise of Skywalker. Now, a few months ago it was more or less confirmed that Rogue Squadron is not happening. The movie, originally helmed by Patty Jenkins, was dead in the water after creative differences caused her to part ways with Lucasfilm, but now LRM Online are saying it isn't, and with recent reports of the next Wonder Woman movie being cancelled, the report by LRM has raised a few eyebrows. In their latest podcast, they say they've heard from Lucasfilm sources that Bob Iger wants to revive the project, and that it might start production in 2024, and if true, it means it might be the sequel to the 2025 movie. LRM Online suggested it might even be a Rogue One situation, where the ideas of the original director are taken over by someone else, even if the original creator of the project, in this case Patty Jenkins, has parted ways. I'll play you the audio of what was said.
From what I've heard, from people in the know over at Lucasfilm, is that, from a couple meetings that already, is that the focus will be now to go back to the theatrical side. And I'm assuming that it's going to be the same thing for Marvel, is that we've seen a lot of Disney Plus projects in the works while Chapek was in charge, and not so much a focus on theatrical productions. And, you can see that it's taken a box office hit with the, besides, I would say, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, almost every previous Disney production underperformed, correct? And so one thing I was told is that Rogue Squadron is getting a push. Now, I don't know how fast and everything, I think from what I've heard is that the goal is, end of 2024. So it's just on pause. Like, there needs to be like a deadline. Like, we need to get this project rolling.
So as you can see, there's a bit of confusion as to what the movie situation is right now, and I reckon the best approach as fans is just to hang back and see how it all plays out. Nothing is official until Lucasfilm says it is, but hopefully the 2025 release date is met, and with a good movie that is worthy of the Star Wars name. Lucasfilm know and have acknowledged how important it is to get this right. The return of Star Wars on the big screen. It's competing with so many other movies, so it needs to send the message that Star Wars is back in a huge way and is worthy of paying the ticket to go see it. So fingers crossed. But with that said, my dear friends, that pretty much sums up all of the news that we have for today. Share all of your thoughts in the comments down below of Jedi Survivor, The Acolyte and Andor. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. May the Force be with you always.